Hello and welcome inside the scores table. Brian Haenchen, Danny Riego here with you. Through the marvels of modern technology, I'm coming to you live from a coffee shop in Cincinnati. Danny from his home office. We're also simultaneously streaming, I think, both vertical and horizontal. So we'll see if it works. I'm going to check that once we throw it to Danny. So a lot of things are happening. I've been running around trying to find a coffee shop for the past, 37 to 45 minutes, striking out every single one. Danny, I went to map sent me to a McDonald's, like the smallest McDonald's I've ever seen, a Starbucks in a hospital, a Starbucks in a Kroger, another Starbucks in a hospital, and then a coffee shop where the internet only lasts for 45 minutes. So we're on the work phone. We're going to see how it happens. But how are you? How are things?
I'm good. I watched a lot of basketball. This was the best weekend slate to date. Like 4 of the top 5 teams played each other. 6 of the top 10 teams played each other. Like, it was cool. And then side note, the vertical, because I can see it on my screen, the vertical's nice.
Yeah, isn't it? I don't know if it's actually working. It says that 4 people are watching it, but on the YouTube page, it says that it's still scheduled. So I'm freaking out a little bit. I don't think that we're broadcasting on the vertical yet. But when it does happen, folks, like it's going to be perfect because apparently this is the wave of the future. Is vertical video.
I have a live counter on both of them.
It's showing live too, but I clicked the link that I just tweeted out and it wasn't working. We'll figure it out. Danny, let's it's not working. It's whatever. Let's make sure the regular link's working.
Okay.
It is working. I just got myself blasted in the ears again. Wonderful. Javon Bryan says, "Oh, we're here, man. Good." So people are here. Javon, if you're watching the vertical feed, let me know. If you're watching the regular one, either way, we have people here. Danny, let's cut to the chase as I continue to dance around. Big game from Friday night. Let's just start with Noblesville, Hamilton Heights. You finally got a chance to see Hamilton Heights in person against a big-time opponent and against a Noblesville team that we were kind of curious to see how they'd look against Hammy Heights, and it sounds like Noblesville kind of set a statement.
Yeah, they did. And Noblesville won the basketball game, so we'll start there. First off, Noblesville fans, they show up. I mean, it's a Friday night game against Hamilton Heights, and it's fine. I mean, it's 2 really good basketball teams, but the Mill was like, what an environment. And so congratulations to Noblesville. It doesn't surprise me, but that continues to be one of my favorite places to watch a basketball game. Like, the stands are like on top of the floor. Like, it's great. But on the floor, so this is what I came away thinking about with Noblesville. Like, you have Hutchinson, Quigley, and Blower, and I don't know what they had in that game. It was like, let's call it 18, 16, 15. It was around there, like super balanced at the top. And Hank will correct me on that. It just seemed like it felt like that. But here are kids like, take Hutchinson, for example. I think we maybe have defined what Hutchinson's role was based on what her role was when Reagan Wilson was on the roster, based on what her role was with Meredith Tipner on the roster. But now that those kids are grown and gone, like, she has a brand new role. Quigley the same way, Blower the same way, and Noblesville is a lot better than I maybe gave them credit for coming in. I knew they'd be good, but they're going to be a really difficult team to beat, particularly in sectionals, because they are experienced and because they are so balanced.
That's exciting here. I'm pulling up stats right now on my laptop. Looking at it here, Allie Hutchinson, as Danny mentioned, 19 points for her, 18 for Blower, 19 for CC Quigley. I mean, that's a really great trilogy right there. And you have Nora Vetter adding 7. So if you can get that on a consistent basis and they can continue to do their thing in that 1-3-1 zone, that's a very dangerous looking outfit there in a sectional 8 that's going to be pretty wide open as we get into the season. On the other side for Hamilton Heights, Riley Suarez, 17 points, a freshman off to a really strong start to her season and career. Bailey Isley with 13 points and 10 points for Zoe Curry.
Yeah, Suarez is the real deal, man. Like, she backed it up against Jay County the following night with 30-plus, double-double, like double-digit rebound, double-figures rebounds. Like, that kid's the real deal. And you could tell, too, like, just physically, she looked like Hutchinson and looked like Quigley and just physically imposing. And she was scoring it in different ways. Like, I think her next evolution, though, Riley Suarez, so Aaron Shrimpy did play kind of Donna Buckley's kind of odd front zone. I think the one thing to watch with Riley Suarez is going to be, like, if you look at the teams that are really good at the 1-3-1, they have Vanessa Rossworm at Norwell at the top. They had, well, let's use Noblesville. They had like kids like Meredith Tipner that would play the top. Lauren Central, who we'll talk to later today, have kids like Lola Lampley at the top. And those kids create havoc and they set the tone for that odd front zone. If Aaron is going to run this with heights, Riley Suarez, because of her build and her athletic ability, can wreak havoc the way that those kids do too. So I think that'll be an interesting follow kind of moving forward.
That'll be really good to see. And then, too, I got to mention our guest today. I'm really good at my job, Danny. I just buried the lead. We'll be joined by Homestead's Kylie Moellering, Gabby Helsom. Pike, Homestead coming off a big win over Pike. They also played great against Northridge. I will be joined by the 3 Lawrence Central seniors, Lola, Lampley, Keke, Butler, friend of the show, and then Aniyah, McKenzie as well. They came off a big win yesterday over Hamilton Southeastern. So we've been cooking out here in what my friends dubbed Sin City, Daniel.
There you go. Hey, so I mean, look, Helsom senior, Moellering senior, Lampley senior, Butler senior, McKenzie senior. Like, that's really cool. Like, we started out talking about, like, the youth. But the players that we're going to have on, like, this is what you could see the early stages of Hamilton Heights. Like, you could see the construction of it, like, of them growing their teeth. Not to hop back to Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Heights. But I mean, like, I opened with the environment, and then we talked about the youth. Like, it's easy to say, like, oh, kids are young. Let me see if I can come up with an example. Like, because I sat right behind Hamilton Heights' bit. Okay, so like there's a baseline out of bounds play that everybody calls America's play. Okay, it's out of a box set. The person that's taking the ball out of bounds throws the ball to the corner. The corner throws the ball to the wing, and then the person that just threw the ball to the wing downstrings. It's called America's play. Everyone the reason why it's called America's play is because everyone in the world runs it. Okay, it's also so recognizable. But like, Zoe Curry got like pinned on a screen. I was right behind Erin Trimpe. She just kind of throws her hands up to be like, that's America's play. Like, we need to be sniffing that stuff out. Now, look, Zoe Curry's great. She played really well against Noblesville. She backed it up with 20 points the following night against a really good Jay County team. That kid's really good. But the youth and inexperience in some of those just kind of basic movement, like that's where the youth kind of showed, and just some of those kind of basic actions. But Hamilton Heights is they validated it in whatever way you could in a double-digit loss. They did.
Statistically, it was a big week for Hamilton Heights. They got their season started a little bit later than everybody else. Riley Suarez against Frankton, 19 points. The 17, as we mentioned, against Noblesville, 32 yesterday against that quality Jay County team. She's averaging 22.6, shooting 57% from the field, Danny, and also pulling in about 7 rebounds. Bailey Isley, 16, Frankton, 13, Noblesville, 6 against Jay County, plus 7 rebounds, 7 assists against Jay County. So, like you said, I mean, the pieces are there.
Isley's cold, man. 17, 11, starting to get away from him at the mill. Final possession of the first quarter, hits a 3, like a walk to the bench 3. Made it 17-14, 1 possession game, right? Like, there's a freshman. Like, there's a kid. Like, that's the same. In the mill on a Friday to hit that. It just is. It's just insane. And I know, you know, maybe people outside of the area might be like, well, it's no different than, you know, some of these South Side gyms. No, it's not. The mill is just ours up here on the north side.
It is unique for Indianapolis area gyms, the environment that Noblesville gets for games, I think. Like, there's a handful. That's one that stands out. There's some smaller schools, too. But in terms of 4A girls basketball, it's hard to beat there. Just for regular games. I mean, that's like an in-county game. Like, that doesn't draw the same crowd a lot of other places. It makes it very unique and very cool in that respect. For those looking for more Noblesville chat, we broke down the Millers pretty thoroughly during our last show on Thursday. Talked about the Millers and what all they have coming back.
Yep.
And Danny went into the weeds a little bit there. So, Danny, let's move on to the first big game from Saturday. Let's talk about IHSAA Lawrence Central. The Royals really gave LC all they could handle. They pushed them into overtime. Keke Holman had a massive performance for the Royals. Just wasn't quite enough to overcome Lawrence Central. Thoughts?
Lawrence Central, they closed. Like, I think they're not going to play many basketball games. Neither of these basketball teams are going to play many basketball games that are going to be close. Okay. So what an opportunity for Lawrence Central to bank some experience, not because their kids are inexperienced, but because they have never been in battle together. Okay. Like Keke Butler battles all the way to the state championship last year. Lola Lampley has done it at the highest levels that anyone can possibly. Congratulations to Lola, by the way, for being named one of the Naismith top 10 finalists in the country for Player of the Year, which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome that we have her on the show today. But she's done it at the highest levels. Aniyah McKenzie has done it Shellhammer's done it, and now all these kids are having to do it together. And I thought it was such a fascinating watch to see how they went about, who had the ball, what kind of sets they were in, the substitution patterns down the stretch. And I'm sure that Coach Lampley is also playing with it as well, because she has just this disposal of talents in front of her. And so she's got to distribute it. But that to me was the most interesting thing, was like, when you have such a talented basketball team, I don't want to be oversimplistic here, but like, who gets the ball down by one with the quote unquote shot clock off? Like, any of those kids can go make a play. And we got the early answers to that, but they all made like all four of those kids, and all due respect to Hollowell and Hyatt, and those, like, they're a big part of what they do. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But all those kids made plays to close.
Yeah. Absolutely. For the HSE side, would you say they were a little further along than you expected them to be?
No, they weren't. I really liked Holman, like, coming into it. I really like. I mean, she has, like, and I'm not saying that was the root to the question. Okay, they got beat because Lawrence Central closed, but also because they had some kids thrust into a very big, like we talked about Hamilton Heights and being able to play in such a big environment. Okay, that's a Saturday 12:30 game that felt like the Wednesday of sectionals. Like, it was shocking to see the level of engagement. Like, the student section was super involved, and so kids like Holman and Stidham and those kids, they've played at big stages like that. But like kids like Mazzara and Tolliver and Brinley and even the 27 Abby Orm, who's a 27 and a year older than those 28s, still hasn't really grown her teeth yet, and so, or sharpened her teeth yet. And so I do think that there is kind of a pass that HSE has to be like, what an invaluable experience that we have. So we talked about the reps that Lawrence Central was getting all together, but HSE, like, some of those kids, that was the biggest basketball game they've ever played.
Yeah. That's the way that I framed it on Twitter was for Lawrence Central, it's kind of expected, like you kind of expected them to win with just everything they're putting back. But that's a win that's going to appreciate in value significantly, I think, as the season goes on. And then for HSE, that kind of felt like a really good foundational piece. A performance where you go toe-to-toe against maybe the best team in the state, one of the best teams in the state. You hold your own, you get them into overtime. And like you said, Danny, that's the first time for a lot of players. And the only way to get that kind of experience, as we talked about with a team like Mount Vernon the other night, is by living it. And they lived it. They take the loss. There's a lot to hang their hats on there, a lot to build from. So HSE, I think, is going to be right in the thick of things. They'll be just fine. Not that anybody's saying otherwise, but they're going to be just fine.
No,
as things go along.
I agree. Just look at, but it's still like the OGs, right? Like look at the last sequence, the final sequences of overtime that led up to the Lawrence Central knockout punch that won him the game, right? So Brinley fouls Lola Lampley. It's their fifth foul of the frame. The penalty is in effect, okay? So at this point in time, Lawrence Central has a 3-point lead. Brinley fouls Lola. Maybe a questionable call, whatever. They're questionable calls both ways, okay? Lola goes to the line, makes the first to go up 4, misses the second. But Aniyah McKenzie keeps the ball alive against Holman 1v1 on the block. Hyatt gets the ball, misses. McKenzie grabs the rebound, makes it. So now they're up 6. HSE comes down. They shoot a 3 that misses. And then it's Aniyah McKenzie gets a pitch pass, and Lola Lampley runs the floor, and they get it, and they lay it in, and that's knockout punch, right? Like, so what names did I say right there, right? Mm-hmm. Aniyah McKenzie, Lola Lampley, Aniyah McKenzie, Lola Lampley, right? So the reason why I say that is because when they get Keke Butler and Riley Shellhammer, who are both closers in their own right, up to a comfort level that can get them into late game situations that are correct, they are going to be a problem. And I know Gabby's like in the back room watching, like all that kid wants to do. Like, there's not many basketball teams. I'll tell you this right now, okay? There's not many basketball teams that are going to be able to beat Lawrence Central, period. just because they're so talented. Okay. I didn't know if HSC was one of them. We know now that they are.
Danny, that was a perfect segue. You set it up beautifully for our next two guests, Gabby, Helsom, Carley, Moellering, seniors from Homestead. The Homestead is coming off of a 71-57 win over Pike. They also beat Northridge earlier in the week, 68-47, on the backs of two big performances for both Carley and Gabby. Guys, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I'm good. How are you?
Great. It's good to see you guys. Let's start yesterday with Pike. Carley, we'll start with you, and then Gabby, if you want to respond as well. Just what did you guys take away from that win over Pike? It was a pretty decisive win for y'all.
For sure. It was definitely a very physical game overall around the board, but it was definitely a good win. I think that the first couple minutes, it was a little rough for us. I think we kind of got punched in the face a little bit, but I think we kind of stayed pretty composed. We came back and kind of give them the final punch, and we ended with the dub. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it went really well. The first quarter was a little rough, but we knew they were going to come out with energy. So I think how we responded showed a lot of heart for us and a lot of grit that we can carry on to bigger games later.
Gabby, I was texting with Rod this morning, Rod Parker, your coach, and he mentioned that you've been coming off an injury this week. What have you been dealing with?
I have some disc degeneration in my lower back joints and disc herniation on my nerves a little bit. So I've just been dealing with that. I got an injection last week to help with the pain. So I've been working through that with some physical therapy and other stuff to get back full.
So in terms of percentage-wise, how close to 100% would you say you are?
I'm back at, I'm practicing and everything at 100% as much as I can. And, do all the pain management things before and after games and just pushing through. So I'd say I'm definitely, pretty close, just pushing through some of the pain that comes with it.
Yeah. Carley, it's a very generic question, but with you guys and having so much back, I guess just how did that kind of help preparations for the season? Like you guys a little bit further ahead of the curve coming into this year maybe than you even were last year?
I would say so, yes. Parker's been pushing us really hard this year because we want to go all the way, obviously. So I really think having almost everybody back, just really gives us kind of the one step forward than everybody else. It gives us a lot of chemistry, gives us a lot of grit, like Gabby said. It gives us a lot of motivation, I would say.
How have you guys improved? What's better about this year's team versus last year's team?
I would probably say that the ball movement has been very good this year. We've been moving the ball, trusting each other more. Obviously, as last year, kind of playing a little different starting five, that kind of stuff. But since it's almost the same starting five as last year, I think it really creates a lot of chemistry, like I said, and the ball does move pretty well this year.
Gabby, how have you seen that side of things, just the development of this group?
I agree with Carley. The ball movement's been really good. I think a key piece for us is the development of our young ones and how they can contribute. And I think us as seniors have been really good with bringing them along with us and encouraging them to do well. So Susie was very good yesterday. She had 8 boards. Big props to her. We gave her a challenge with Tamari Booker and she took it, and I'm so proud of her for it. Aggie Bell stepped up in the point guard position, got a lot of minutes yesterday. So I'm super proud of them. And then Delaney, when she gets back from injury, she's going to be really good for us too. So them just being more confident has been a big change from last year. It just gives us more depth.
As seniors, how do you go about cultivating and facilitating that confidence in those young kids?
I think it's just, encouraging them to shoot the ball. And, Susie's a very pass-first player. So sometimes we have to encourage her a little bit more to shoot the ball when she's at the rim and not necessarily, kick to us every play when she's a foot taller than everybody else. So I think just that and, instilling confidence in them before the games. I gave a little pep talk to Aggie yesterday, telling her that it's just any game, because the game matters, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a playoff game, So making sure they know it's okay to make mistakes and nobody's going to be mad at them for it. We're just going to help them and encourage them to do better next time.
Carley, what about for you?
I would definitely agree with Gabby. Definitely putting confidence into the young ones. Obviously, Susie stepping up is really big, and it obviously can be very overwhelming. So I really think all of us have done a good job in giving her props. Last night after the game, I shouted her out and gave her props after the game. I want her to be able to know that she's doing a good job, and I want her to know that with how hard she's working, it is showing.
For both of you guys, I guess just the schedule, the way that it's, or actually, let's start with Pike specifically. The way that Pike runs the rotations, where they're doing full sale line changes midway through the first quarter, it's kind of a unique, and I would imagine is it difficult at all to match up against that, or to get a rhythm, get a beat on a team when they're swapping out so frequently?
I would say that would be difficult if we were a group of sophomores, but I think as experienced seniors, we had very minimal lapses in who didn't have who, because we knew when they were subbing in and we were calling it out and communicating that every possession. And when one of our young ones came in, I think all of us that were on the floor were doing a really good job of telling them who they have, making sure they knew that we were switching everything, like elaborating on that and making sure everybody knew and reiterating it to them every time that they came in the game or whatever new stuff came into the game for either team.
That communication component has been pretty natural for this group, hasn't it? Just over the years, like I feel like I've talked to you guys in the past, and that's kind of been a big thing that Rod talked about, just kind of that chemistry component and just how everybody kind of meshes and fits well together in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we have really good chemistry, and it's gotten so much better as we become seniors. And I think our communication is really good. I mean, Parker actually gets mad at us for talking too much sometimes at practice. So I think it's a great element that we have to our team, and it helps us so much in tight games.
Mm-hmm.
Carley, for you, the scheduling, where you guys jump in, you have Fort Wayne, but then you go Northridge, Pike, Norwell, you get a Concordia, and then you jump right back into a Plainfield down here, and then Belmont. Just, do you kind of like this schedule where you don't have really any time to warm up, or would you rather have had a little bit more of a runway before jumping into some of these?
No, definitely. I absolutely love playing. Like, playing is obviously my favorite thing. I think all the girls, we just love to play. Parker's different. He's obsessed with practice. But I love when we just get going. I don't like to wait for the good games. I like to start good, start strong, and I definitely have liked these first two games, and I'm very excited for Norwell next week for sure. You
like jumping right into the fire.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Have you guys had a chance to look at Norwell? I'd imagine, I suppose there's probably some familiarity with the Knights and what all they bring back.
Definitely we have we're very familiar with them for sure. He's talked about them here and there, but I believe that on Monday we're really going to hone in and really do some scouting on them for sure.
I'm curious for both of you guys from a player's perspective, how do you go about addressing that type of defense that Norwell's runs, that 1-3-1? It's obviously the same thing like you've seen in the past with Noblesville. Norwell won a state championship on the back of it last year. Just as players, how do you go about attacking that with the personnel that you guys have?
Gabby, you want to take first?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I think what our biggest thing is trying to get it into the middle of the zone and also attacking the seams. Because when you get two players to guard you, it ultimately opens up a shooter or somewhere there. So I think it's just that, and then having really good ball movement and not letting the ball get sticky in the zone. Because if you move the ball and let it get side to side, it lets the defense get tired, and then we can outwork them with how deep we go.
Yeah. For both of you guys, what game are you most looking forward to on this schedule? Just the entire season.
I'm definitely most looking forward to Warsaw. I'm very excited for the Warsaw game.
Yeah, that's probably one of my most excited ones too. I'm really excited. We're all friends with those girls, and it's just the crowd is always insane for that game. So I'm super excited.
That's fantastic. For both of you, national signing day, I guess. Just how did it feel to get your commitment set into place and done with? Gabby, you're going to Toledo, and Carley, you're going to IHSAA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So just how did it feel to get all that done and finalized?
It was definitely a blessing for sure. Having everyone come support us really meant a lot to all of us for sure. To officially sign the paper just means a lot. Ever since I was a little girl, I've always wanted to play in college, no matter where it was. I just wanted to play at the next level, and having everybody there showing support just truly meant a lot to me and showed how loved we all really are.
Yeah, it was super cool to actually sign and officially make it official that I actually reached the goal. And then it was super cool to do it with the girls too. I mean, us 5 seniors, we've kind of grown up together. Most of us have played together since 6th grade, and then some of us even longer. So it was really cool for all of us to take that next step together, and then to have the whole, like, we had like the entire community supporting us, and there were so many people in there, so it was super cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Carley and Gabby, thanks so much for hopping on with us. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys Saturday down there at Brownsburg.
Thank you.
Awesome. Take care, guys. See you soon.
You too.
Gabby, Helsom, Carley, Moellering from Homestead with us on the show. Danny, I will let you wrap up the interview. Excuse me, while I catch my breath.
Yeah. First of all, Carley said Warsaw. She's not the only one that's also looking forward to that game. I think there's a lot of people. We didn't know what to expect from Warsaw. It turns out that Warsaw probably has as good of a 4-game resume as we'll kind of. I mean, I think they're in like the end block. Yeah.
Yeah. Just pausing. Danny didn't know what to expect. This guy didn't know what to expect. Lenny, I knew what to expect. Lenny, I knew what to expect. I wasn't sleeping on. Danny was. Okay, Danny, go ahead.
No, it'll be a great one. It'll be great. We'll talk about Warsaw because they had one of the 3 like top 10 matches. They had Valpo. So we have some notes.
That'll be our end of show. Yeah.
But so spinning back to Homestead, like go back and listen to what like Gabby was talking about. Okay, like what a mature kid. Okay, she talked about Aggie Bell. She talked about Susie Perigo guarding Booker. And if you remember last year, Carly Moellering had an early season injury too, which injected Delaney Knoll into the starting lineup. And then when Carly came back, Delaney Knoll was, just maybe longer in the tooth. And so now they have the same opportunity again. Like in this game, like Aggie Bell hit a big time 3. Okay. And that's just going to give her the confidence to take and make that shot kind of moving forward. And you have experienced kids like Moellering and Kendall McLaughlin, but that team is so complete. But if you look at this particular basketball game, like Delaney Knoll, who is undeniably one of the better kids in that class, she's on the shelf. By the way, that's not serious. She's actually, I think she's gotten some appointments to show that she's going to be medically released this month, which is a really good sign for both her and Homestead. But we didn't talk about it, but Maya Epps left that basketball game late when they had an 18-point lead. And like that, we have talked about that. That's been the kid that they put the ball in the hands of in the fourth quarter, and they don't have her. Okay. Gabby Helsom spent some time in the locker room of that basketball game. Okay. And I don't know. She disclosed a little bit about what she's dealing with the discs and things like that. I don't know if it was related to that, but she was in the locker room. Okay. And they led the number 1 team on the west side of Indianapolis by 18 points, and looked like they just made it look like light work. Like that was super impressive. And I think they did everything to validate their number 1 ranking. Okay. But I want to close with Gabby. Like Gabby had 30. Okay. And that's what everybody will see. Okay. But what I saw is a kid that was just willing to do whatever she could do to help the team win. Like if that meant that she handled the basketball while Epps goes to the bench after her injury in the fourth quarter, sure. She talked about Susie Perigo guarding Kamari Booker, but that naturally put Gabby Helsom on Marley Jeffers, which is a very difficult matchup for her. Very scout specific too. Like there was a time where like Marley Jeffers had the ball at the elbow and Gabby kind of stunted at her, kind of dared her to shoot. Marley shoots it. She grabs a defensive rebound. It's like great execution of a scouting report that I'm sure at the granular level that some people may have missed. But that kid is, she talked about like shooting with some of the younger kids and bringing some of the younger kids along. Like I think Gabby Helsom has already stamped her Indiana All-Star resume green. Like to get 30 against Pike and then to do all of these things that don't show up in the box score, it was super impressive to be the one singular kid on that loaded floor on Saturday at 2:30 to be the one kid that stood out.
Just an insane roster that Homestead assembled over there. Gabby Helsom, by the way, 17.7 rebounds against Northridge, 7 of 12 from the floor, 2 for 4 from the arc. Saturday against Pike, 30 points, as Danny mentioned, on 6 rebounds, 9 of 11 shooting, 5 of 7 on 3, 7 of 8 at the line. That'll do
11,
nicely.
9-11, 5 of 7 against Pike's a joke, man. That's a joke.
That's insane. That's nuts. Like that's a damn good Pike team too. I was very curious to see how that one going. They're both just such great teams. Like that once again is one that we could see in a couple months in February, at the end of February, beginning of March at Cambridge Fieldhouse. Like there's no doubt in my mind that that's a possibility.
No question. No question.
Yep.
Saniyah Smith is the kid, by the way, from a Pike perspective.
He has been phenomenal.
Yeah, she continues to impress. Like I have called her in past episodes one of the most natural scorers of the ball in the 27 class, and she is showing that. Like she hit, I think maybe 4 threes in the first half. Like she's really, and I actually ran into her at the Lawrence North Silver Creek game, and I know she's like battling some injuries last year, kind of some nagging injuries that kind of extended into the summer. She's finally healthy, man, and I find her super impressive. But the story for Pike is this: if you haven't watched it, like watch it, okay? The story for Pike is going to be the depth of talent and how Keith manages the depth of talent. Okay. Like, and I'm like, Keith's been coaching a long time. Everybody knows that I've got a relationship with him. I mean, he's very used to coaching teams with multiple like top talents on them. But he's playing long game with this. I would trust his rotation patterns. I would trust the implementation of his process. He probably wants people to line up at the door to doubt what he's doing and how he's doing it. But I'll tell you this, man, Keith's not like he was born at night, but he wasn't born last night, man. Like if they play Homestead at the state championship, there's going to be some people that played minutes in this basketball game that won't play as many minutes in the next basketball game. Now, here's the trick with Pike. I wouldn't be surprised if Keith is almost just kind of like extending. He wants to see who emerges. Like, So I don't think that's been determined who is going to win those position battles. But what self-control as a coach to be able to maintain your strategy at the beginning of the season in a singular basketball game, going with mass substitutions at a very frequent pace to be able to see what his kids give them. That's going to pay long-term dividends.
Yeah. Keith, honestly, for Keith, it's probably not exactly what we want. Obviously, want to win. But Keith, silver lining, he said his team's going to slide under the radar. Not going to happen a little bit. But no, circling back to what you said about Saniyah Smith, when I watched them against Avon, that kid popped in right away in the middle of the first quarter and just immediate spark plug. Just started bombing threes, hitting shots all over the place, creating chaos on defense. She was really impressive. Keith and I talked about her a little bit afterwards. Just a phenomenal performance by her, and she's continued it, like you said there, against Homestead. And it is going to be interesting to see how these rotations kind of settle. I like what they're doing with the substitutions and keep legs fresh. Now it's just a matter of what pieces fit where, how they mix. And then there's also the flexibility of playing the hot hand with that, where if Keith likes what he sees, he can play with it. So it's going to be fun and fascinating to watch how that develops and grows, because we talked about Homestead and the amount of talent on their roster. Pike is just as loaded. And it's a lot of names that I think have become or will become kind of household names, so to speak, as we go along. But I really like Pike and what they have coming back and the way that their schedule stacks up. I mean, there's test after test. They go from Homestead, they go to Addicts, they have Westville, they have Warren Central, bang, 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 all warming up to Lawrence Central in the Marion County tournament. So lots of good tests coming up there for Pike, but I take nothing away from them based off what happened yesterday against Homestead. I think it's just two good teams, one team has to win, and in this case, it was Homestead.
Yep, agreed.
Speaking of Lawrence Central, Danny, we're going to be joined here in just a second by Lola, Lampley, Keke, Butler, and Aniyah, McKenzie. We'll pull them on once we get everybody's cameras up and running. Lawrence Central coming off that 62-53 overtime win over Hamilton Southeastern for LC. You had Aniyah McKenzie with 16, Lola Lampley with 15, Riley Shellhammer 11, Keke had 13. Just a tremendous all-around team performance. You name all of those names. You talk about household names. Well, there's 3 of them right there headlining that senior-driven team. They're number 2 in this state, have a legitimate case to be number 1 in this state. Just a phenomenal outfit. I haven't had a chance to watch them in person yet. I'm really looking forward to. Danny, as we wait for Aniyah to turn on her camera for Keke to hop on hers, I'll let you just give an opening thought. Just kind of, I guess, reiterating, basically what we said earlier in the show, but just an opening thought on LC.
So if you look at the box score or you watch the basketball game, they got a high percentage of volume from like particularly Hyatt. Hollowell, I think, found herself some opportunities as well. But if you look at the way that they were guarding Lola, who is maybe one of the most extraordinary individual talents that we've ever seen in the city, okay? Like, they're guarding her with one of the freshmen hanging back on pack line, And they had some kids on that roster that defensively on that pack line that were almost allowed to go wherever they wanted. And they stationed them most of the time in the middle of the floor. Okay. Go back and watch Lola play. Like really, really smart. Like didn't force anything. Didn't try to, make it her game. Like just took what the defense gave her. Okay. But in winning time, I had mentioned it before with like McKenzie on the 50-50 rebounds and the leak out with Lamp. Like those kids, particularly McKenzie and Lampley, making the plays at the end of that basketball game was remarkable to watch. Like it just was. And she was getting really good to, like, if you watched Lola too, like I think with like 18 seconds left in regulation, I think it was Keke that Coach Lampley put in a downhill, right? But if you watch Lola, she's not just like a space eater in that. Like she was looking for like a catch and release three. And so I just think when I see Lawrence Central, I see all of this unbelievable talent. And I just think that I think that's why they won the game. Like, just wait until we get until the end of the season and get into January, getting into February. I said the statement at the end of the last episode that I thought that this had the potential to be the best Lawrence Central team of the last 3 years. Okay. Jayla Lampley and Layla Abdurraqib are unbelievable players. But this one is, if it's not going to end up being the best of the three, the margin between them isn't going to be wide. Like, I think we need to give this an opportunity to just kind of mature a little bit and age a little bit. But in the end, like those kids just making plays like in 50-50 basketballs, like on the offensive rebound or in the open floor, the way that Lola did was really remarkable and a very, very look. And the girls will tell us too when we interview them, that was an awesome environment. Like, and it wasn't just HSE. Lawrence Central's fans were really, I mean, they were gator chomping at Keke, and then I mean, Keke loves that stuff, right? But they were into it, and it was super fun to watch. And so I think Lawrence Central going on the road against HSE and beating a top 5 basketball team and avenging a loss last year in the regular season, coupled with what Pike did at Homestead, they have to wake up on Sunday morning feeling really good about where they sit on the South Side.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, Danny, I'm going to bring them on. We're going to see how this looks again with the vertical thing. I might drop you off again just to get 4 screens on here and take this one. Joined now by Lola Lampley, Aniyah, McKenzie, Keke, Butler. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Doing great. It's good to see you guys. Let's start. Danny, I'm going to bump you off just to get them on the bigger screen because it looks kind of funky on my end. We're going to have to tinker with this as we go. But let's start with that game yesterday. You heard Danny talking about the environment and just, I mean, fans from both sides going wild. What was it like to play in that game, an overtime thriller between 2 of the top teams in the state? Lola, why don't you start us?
Okay, yeah, sure. It was definitely surreal. We figured it was going to be that kind of environment, like going into it. Obviously, the game was a little more personal. So we were ready for that, and obviously it brought what we expected, and it was great, honestly. On both sides, our fans, their fans, it just made the game super fun. So.
Keke, what do you think?
I can't hear her. Like I can't.
You couldn't hear her?
I couldn't hear nothing.
Did you hear me?
No. It was like
that's crazy. Aniyah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Keke, when you hear me, give me a thumbs up. I'll talk to her in the chat. Aniyah, why don't you talk to me about the environment and what it was like playing in that game there yesterday?
To me, I think it was fun and exciting. Going into the game and coming out, I feel like it was just going into the game focused and just
Yeah. Lola, what was the team's response? What was it like on the sidelines there when that thing's going in overtime, coming down to the wire the way that it was?
Yeah, honestly, it's just live or survive. Live or die. It was one of those situations that we had to take care of every play because you don't know when you're going to get another one. You know what I mean? So it was just, just trying to take care of every possession. And, it got real at that point because we can't, we got to recover on the mistakes that we made. We don't have time to keep making the same mistakes because you don't know if you're going to get another one. And just to battle the possessions, honestly. So just going in knowing that we have to take care and complete every possession. So it definitely got real, but that was our mindset.
Aniyah, you've been off to such a hot start this season. Just what have you seen in your own game? What are you most proud of that's kind of evolved and allowed you to start taking this next step, so to speak?
Just really staying focused, working on my games for real. With my teammates, of course, and just mainly focusing on playing. Yeah.
Lola, what have you seen from Aniyah and just her production? I mean, the uptick specifically even on the offensive end has been pretty noticeable.
Definitely. So, I mean, even up to this point, Aniyah, she's always been one of our hardest workers. We have so much trust in her on defense. Like we definitely cater to her for our whole defensive side. She basically, besides me, gets the whole team together where we need to be defensively. So there's so much trust there. She works so hard. I know if there's a 50-50 ball, I know she's going to come up with it every time. And it's great to have a teammate that I can put that much trust into. And she's been like that forever. So, and especially going into the game yesterday, I think she was on the floor every possession. And whenever she was around the ball, she was there on the floor. So just even that hunger, it's a different kind of want to. A lot of players, you're not just going to get that. You actually have to want to do something like that. And she fights for all of us that way. So it's just great having a teammate that's willing to do the things, the intangibles, the things that nobody really cares about. So I love that.
Hi, Keke, can you hear us? Awesome.
Yes.
So you're kind of used to those overtime games, right? After last season, you guys went on those cardiac games. That was probably no sweat for you at all, right?
Yeah.
So what have you taken away, Keke? I'll ask you kind of the same general question I was asking Aniyah and Lola, but what have you kind of taken away from these first week and a half of the season?
Just playing with them and just learning the different style of play. I would say just making sure I'm doing what they're expecting from me and helping them as much as possible. I'm also taking in stuff, so just making sure I'm paying attention and doing the things that I need to do in the game to help us win.
Yeah. For all three of you guys, just how has the process gone of getting everybody integrated? Because you have Riley and Keke and some of the new kids who are coming in, transfer from Davis. How have you gone about and how has it been, with a couple weeks and a couple games under the belt of getting everybody integrated and kind of grooving together and jiving?
Yeah, I'll start with that. Obviously, we have, of course, we have our seniors, but yeah, we are still a very young team. We have a lot of underclassmen. So our main thing is just trying to lead them. And obviously, it can be a little hard sometimes, but I feel like with the players that we all have a common mindset, and it makes it so much easier when everybody wants the same thing. And you just remind everybody why you're doing it. And, when they remember that, it just pushes them to, go after what we all want to do. So I'd say they actually make it quite easy for us. But then again, us as seniors, we're just trying to make sure we set a great example. And even just for the further their careers too, just knowing how to play, and, because they're going to be here for 2 more years. So just showing them, sending out of, where we want them to be, at least. So we try to better ourselves, be a good example for them. And but it's been going well. Just like I said, we all have common mindsets. So it's been quite easy for us.
Aniyah, for you, how have you kind of embraced that role and as a leader, senior leader, and help kind of get everybody integrated and together?
Really just as a teammate, look at my teammates and, just to embrace them and, just lead them of what path they need to be on and just basically get them ready for as we leave because, they're going to be upcoming. So, just get them ready and prepared for when we leave and set them in a good place.
Does that come naturally for you, Aniyah? Like that kind of leadership, being a little bit more that vocal presence?
Yeah.
Yeah. Keke, we've talked about this a little bit, but the transition for you, I guess, seeing this from the other side as somebody new coming in, how has it been for you, and how have you kind of smoothed the process out for yourself to make this transition a little easier?
I would say with Lola and Aniyah, it was kind of easy coming in because Aniyah is very vocal, and then Lola's they're both pretty much good leaders, so it was easy to catch up and fall when you got 3 good leaders like playing with each other, it's kind of easy to figure it out. Like even if you don't know it, like just through talking or like helping each other, like we able to get stuff done. And then like I would say we're just making sure like that our lower classmen is like where they need to be for when we're not here or once we leave out, and just enjoying the process like of it all, like just making sure we enjoying like our senior year but still working at the same time.
Has it been easy, I guess, or not easy, but how has it been just establishing roles on the floor? Because obviously there's the chemistry side of things, and then on the floor too, figuring out plays and everything like that. Lola, I'll start with you and work our way around. Just how has that side of the process worked in terms of in basketball terms?
Yeah, of course. Well, as far as roles, we use practice for that. Every day is a new opportunity to, show what you can do, show what you're capable of, all those different things. So we take our practices very seriously, and that's one thing that helps us as far as roles. Also, the trust that we have with each other. I mean, our mom, she meets with us all the time, and we kind of talk about each, one of our teammates and how we feel about this, how we feel about that. And doing that helps a lot, especially knowing that we're captains and our teammates, they look up to us. Just knowing that who we trust to, do what and where, that helps a lot. So I definitely say it starts with practice as far as roles on the court. But every day is a new opportunity to show what you're capable of. So we're never gonna put you in a box. Like we want our team to grow. You know what I mean? Like we don't want you to feel like you can only do this, you can only take these shots. But what we are gonna do is what's best in the interest of the team. So that's probably been the hardest part about it. Because everybody here, we all work so hard, and we want to show everybody that you're seen, your hard work is seen. But we do have to do what's in the best interest of the team. So that's kind of what we go by as far as roles.
Aniyah, I'll frame it a different way for you. Just what do practices look like? Lola talked about practice and the importance of that. So take us inside an LC practice, Aniyah, and just tell me what they look like and what kind of makes it unique and or how it's helped this team so much.
Well, with our team, we just been like collectively together, and then just basically like people helping each other in practice, telling each other where to go, and just basically moving as a unit and collectively and just helping each other. So,
kind of that familiarity of all you guys, even the transfers in, just kind of knowing each other through basketball, kind of helping facilitate that chemistry, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keke, for you, we talked before the commit was official. Congratulations on Boston College.
Thank you.
Just how excited are you to have that out of the way, signed and done? And what was it about Boston College that had you so excited and ready to head out east?
It was I'll say it was a very good process, but I'm very happy to get it out the way because now like I can focus and just worry about the upcoming season. You kind of really with the college calls and stuff, it'd be stressful a lot. So I was just happy to get the process. And then I don't know, I went out to Boston and the coaching staff, it felt familiar, the football game, the way the way I got to view the campus, just the different things, it felt normal. It wasn't just I was going out there not knowing what I was getting myself into. It is a big move. It is far, but I will say they take care of the people out there, so I'll be fine.
I was going to say, were you looking to stay closer to Indy, closer to family, or were you kind of open to anywhere?
I would say my mom is going to follow me pretty much everywhere I go. So wherever I go, she'll probably come around. So I don't really have to worry. I'm a mom's girl. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Aniyah going to UIC. And the thing that I love about you is the two-sport athlete component of all this. So as somebody who's trying to continue to promote the propaganda of being a two-sport athlete, how has running track helped you on your basketball side of things?
I want to say with keeping my endurance and keeping me in shape and stuff, it can help with you dealing in speed and my speed and just working. But yeah, that's me.
You never had any thoughts of quitting track, right? You've always kind of been committed to doing both.
Yeah, which is crazy because I didn't start running track until my freshman year. So
wow.
But since I've been running track, yeah, I've been loving it. Oh.
How many times have you qualified for state, by the way?
For 3 years, every year.
3 years every year. Started as a freshman. So everybody out there, do like Aniyah McKenzie and run track or something in the spring. Lola, I'll wrap things up with you. We've talked about LSU and the commitment there. I guess just now that your signing day is out of the way, just how does it feel to have that out of the way? And what do kind of these next steps for you look like as you progress through the high school season and prepare for the next chapter of your career?
Yes, definitely. Well, obviously, having the process all over with is definitely a relief. I have to agree with you on that. The relief that I felt after, it's like I can finally focus on what I need to do now. So, I mean, I go into every practice, every game, I'm like, okay, like I am an LSU commit. Like that's how people are going to look at me. So it kind of changes how I look at things because of how I know I'm looked at. It's like, okay, I can't just go out here doing anything. It's like I am, like it's real now. So, and it's coming right around the corner. So, but no, it's definitely a relief for sure. And I'm very happy with my decision. So it just makes me work even harder because I know, it's going to be tough. It's coming right up. So it's a different level and it just makes me work even harder. And it's definitely been my motivation. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, girls, thanks so much for hopping on with us. We appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you guys in person here before long and get out some LC games. But best of luck to you the rest of the way, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
give me one more to say something. Yeah, thank you for having us and for all the 2026 commits. Good luck. And, yeah, best of luck for everything.
Yeah, good luck to everybody.
Yeah.
Congrats on signing.
Yeah.
Yes. Good luck and congrats.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Lola, Lampley, and Aniyah McKenzie, Keke, Butler here with us on the scorage table. Danny, we talked a lot of LC already this show, so I won't make you wrap up. But always fun talking to them. It's cool hearing the inner workings of how that team's coming together, the roles, and obviously the importance of practice and stuff that I talked to them about before, but it's cool hearing it from them. And then just individually, Keke going to Boston College is awesome. Like, following that kid's career, it's been phenomenal to see how she's grown. Lola at LSU was, in hindsight, should have been predictable. And I had a story up the night that she committed to LSU and just the opportunities that presents for her. She's a young lady with big dreams of playing professionally. LSU, she feels, and I totally agree, is going to be the one to get her to those goals, which is awesome. And then Aniyah McKenzie, kind of an unsung hero for that team for the past. During the championship run, it felt like a bit of an unsung hero. Grew into a bigger role last year, and then as you and I talked about last week, really is stepping into the spotlight this year and has played phenomenally. And as I mentioned, propaganda, two-sport propaganda. We stand for that here in the Aniyah, a 3-time state qualifier after picking up the sport as a freshman is pretty dang cool. She's an awesome young lady as well. Danny, there's another game that we need to get.
So let me kind of share some punctuating thoughts on LC. Like,
sure.
So I also wanted to talk about Riley Shellhammer. Just give her a couple of sentences. Like her game looks really good. Okay, and right now she's getting put in kind of like 1v1 opportunities, like when they pitch the ball up the floor. Like she had a move where it's like a stop on the dime 3. Like she might be the only 28 on the list of the kids that can make that play. Like, it was beautiful. And in the section that I was sitting in, like, somebody even actually made a comment like that was nasty. But like, I think her game looks as good as it quite honestly ever has. And so I think and just listen to the way that like Lola specifically was talking about like interjecting these kids. Like, she's going to do really well with Baton Rouge, by the way. Like, just the way that she's so smart and put together and can verbalize her words. Like, it was really impressive. But Riley Shellhammer was a big reason why they won that game. You talked about Aniyah. I compared Lawrence Central to the Showtime Lakers, like kind of jokingly, but like if so, like Lola's magic. Like she does things that are just like, wow. Like some might say, oh, well, it wasn't impressive. Like, did you watch it? Like, she does super impressive things. Okay. But I'm going to punctuate Lawrence Central with this, okay? Like, if you watch Coach Lampley coach that basketball game, at least from where I was sitting and what I could see, she's not an overly animated coach, okay? She's not. She holds her kids accountable. She stands up. It's not like Phil Jackson and Zen like, but she's not overly animated, okay? One of the times where she barked was when somebody on their team like missed an early first half pitch pass. Like, that you hear coaches like there was an Instagram reel recently about like John Calipari like stopping practice because they didn't pitch the basketball up the floor. Like a pitch pass by definition is a pass up the floor to an open like teammate. Okay, like they're just trying to put their kids in 1v1s, and Janan actually knows that. Holds her kids accountable, but if you look at the final possession that won them the basketball game, they get a pitch pass to Aniyah McKenzie that puts her in a primary break 2-on-1. She makes the absolute right read and feeding Lola, and Lola finishes with the right hand on the left side. Like, she's getting early returns on what she's trying to do. You can see what she's trying to do with this basketball team. And I think it's been remarkable. I think it'll be a very fun kind of thing to watch as they get better and better and better at just simple things like making pitch passes.
Absolutely. Danny, next game that we want to get to also happened Saturday. Warsaw with an 11-point win over Valparaiso, one of those early season test type games where you kind of see everybody stacks up 60-49. Just your initial thoughts on that one.
From a strength of record perspective, like Warsaw's 4-0, and their 4 wins right now are Norwell, the defending state champ at home. They went on the road to Snyder and won. They went, and that's Janaea Cooper. They went on the road to Valpo. That's Lily Barnes, won. And they went on the road to Katie Jackson's Northrop outfit that had Swin Jackson, who had a career high in opening night. I think a career high in opening night. I think she got to 25-26 or something like that. But that 4-game stretch from a strength of record perspective is as good as there is in the state. But my note on Warsaw is that when they win, every basketball game is starting to look exactly the same. And that is an injection of their identity on what they're trying to do in every basketball game. But in this one, like from a statistics perspective, I think it was like Bricker. They face guarded Zart. So yeah, Zart hit a big time 3 in the second half. They kind of stretched that out, and she always seems to hit those kill shots. But like Bricker with 18, Neely with 18, Huss with 15. Like the game before when I talked about Warsaw, it was like I think it was like Bricker 25, Zartman 25, Huss 10. Like they're getting such large production in getting to that line of demarcation for them, which is 65 points. Again, 18, 18, 15, and 5 out of Brick, Neely, Huss, and Zartman respectively. I mean, that is 30. So that's 60 over 60 points. And so it just it's all starting to look the same, and I think a lot of the Indianapolis audience is going to get to see them at Sneakers here. They're going to be down here pretty soon. I think they've got one against maybe a South Bend team, and then they come down and play Jennings. I think they play Jennings County. Yeah. Which, by the way, Zartman and Molly Ernstis on the same floor.
I was just going to say, Zartman and Jocelyn Bricker against Molly Ernstis is going to be phenomenal entertainment there at 6 p.m. at Brownsburg. Yeah. What'd you make on the Valpo side? We'll get to see Lily Barnes against Kenzie Cook, Bella Sotelo, and Eastern Hancock here on that Saturday afternoon as well.
Yeah, Barnes looked great. Here's the challenge that Barnes had, right? Barnes was, because they play that kind of like X zone. It's got some odd front principles. It's kind of a matchup. They can extend it. Them being Warsaw, that you have to pass the basketball against the zone, right? You have to penetrate gaps, and you have to find open spots and pass the basketball. That's a difficult thing for somebody like Lily in that game. I think if you go back and look at like last year's game, I think that was the game that went into overtime. It was 71-70. I think Warsaw, and I think Lily Barnes had like 30-some points, right? Warsaw's ability to make Lily Barnes a passer and make her get rid of the basketball, I think should be commended. I don't think that was by accident. But Valpo's going to go as Lily Barnes goes. Her game looks great. She's got an Indiana All-Star candidacy. She's got a Miss Basketball candidacy, a very good basketball player. And I think everybody's starting to really kind of familiarize themselves with her game. But Warsaw made it very difficult on her because they just made her get rid of the ball.
Mm-hmm. They have a big game coming up against Eastern Hancock. I'll have deeper thoughts on Valparaiso. Potentially a story on the Ball State commits that we talked about before. Danny, a couple last games that we at least wanted to touch on. One of those being Eastern Hancock, Triton Central. Eastern Hancock comes away with the 1-point win over Triton Central, 58-57. We're going to see that one again soon, I would imagine. And then Carmel tops a very talented Jeffersonville, 57-45 at home on Saturday. I'll let you take us home with those two. games.
Yeah, I sped watched Eastern Hancock. It was all due respect to Triton Central and Eastern Hancock. When you watch Pike, Homestead, and then Lawrence Central HSC, you're worried that like a Triton Central or Eastern Hancock game isn't going to live up. So I kind of sped watched it, but the fourth quarter was absolutely worth it. I think Kenzie Cook had like 12 points in the fourth quarter, hit a monster three with about 14 seconds left. So the game's tied. Very simple side ball screen action, and Kenzie Cook was a closer. Like it was really, really good to see her have to make big shots because the to be not critical, but to be consistent with other people's critique of Eastern Hancock is they want to see that team do it against really good competition, and that was a sectional environment. The Triton Central game always is. But to see Kenzie Cook and Mary Rose Fleming both trying to close, and in this particular situation, Kenzie Cook getting the closing three, I think was a not a surprise, but also a really kind of cool thing to see. Her reaction after she hit that shot too shows how much that she wanted that one to go in. The other one was Carmel. So the other one was I wanted to see Carmel because we had Jess on, and I wanted to see them kind of build on it. I think they're getting closer and closer to getting Catherine Bassey back. Hopefully, Jess had kind of foreshadowed that in her interview, but I wanted to see them kind of back it up. And against Jeffersonville, who has kids, like they get like McKenna Taylor, Khalees Dan, like they have good players. Okay, Khalees Dansby.
Dansby's the real deal.
Yes, but watch Bella Ramsey play that game. Like she has a career high 20, I don't know, 5-ish, something like that, right? But that kid is so good at understanding when to leak up the floor. And when I was watching that game, I had these like flashback vibes to Clay Middle School. Clay Middle School is one of the middle schools that feeds into the Carmel High School system, and Bella Ramsey and Maddie Wallace were teammates at Clay, and I was at like a game. I don't know if they were 7th graders or 8th graders at the time. And Bella Ramsey just made a killing, like just leaking out on the floor and getting, I would talk about pitch passes with Lawrence Central. Like Maddie Wallace pitches the basketball to specifically Bella Ramsey because Bella Ramsey is always open. Okay. Now, before you think that is just Jeffersonville wasn't getting back, watch the film. Like watch Bella Ramsey kind of find and seek her opportunities to get behind the defense in full court change of possession. And that was a large reason why she got to 25. But here's now a basketball team in Carmel that has won games in very different ways. They get the Abdo 3 in the Evansville Central game. Maddie Wallace has 28. This one is Bella Ramsey. Like you're starting to see Carmel win in different ways. And when you see teams like Carmel or any outfit for that matter win in different ways, I think you start to see good basketball teams. Like Carmel's good this year, y'all.
I forgot about the Cluckers. We're kind of running out of time here, so it may be something that we do, Danny, on a Wednesday show. We can recap Cluckers again with the sneakers, but real quickly, Evansville Central last night, they pull off the overtime win over, who did they beat? They beat Washington. They beat Washington in overtime. Evansville Central did. Maddie Shirley went for at least 30. I'm trying to pull up our text thread, but unfortunately went down with an injury. The severity of it wasn't known at the time. I do not believe that she played the rest of the day, so we'll keep an eye on updates on that. But Shirley went for 28 points and a 69-62 overtime win against Washington. Washington, by the way, rallied from 14 down in the fourth quarter to force the extra session. Shirley, as I mentioned, I apologize for bouncing all over. Maddie Shirley did not play in the nightcap. Trainer's going to have a look on Monday. So fingers crossed, good news on that front. Gibson Southern picked up a good win, beating Bishop Chittard in overtime. That was a home game for them. They're a team that's very fascinating to follow this year, Gibson Southerners. They've got a lot of talent, maybe more so. South Knox was the other team for Cluckers as I continue to just stumble my way through this thing. South Knox goes through and wins that tournament as they did last year. So really impressive for them. We'll have a more cohesive, more coherent breakdown of that later this week. Danny and I will be back, I think, with the midweek show because we have Sneakers for Santa to talk about. We have an event that Keith's putting together at Pike to talk about. We'll have Cluckers to talk about, plus whatever midweek games. I'll be at one on Tuesday. There's a bunch of others going on, so we'll have one of those Wednesday recap shows. But in the meantime, for Danny, for our guests from Homestead, for our guests from Lawrence Central, We thank you all so much for watching, and we'll talk to you again in a couple days.